and Schaefer. And now the starting lineup for your North Central College Cardinals. Number 3, Nellie Scranton. Number 5, Addie Records. Number 7, Paige Nadhiri. Number 13, Christina Truver. Number 14, Mink Richardson Clerk. Number 18, Katie Engel. Number 20, Jessica Deachin. Number 22, Grace Steiner. Number 23, Annabelle Steiner. Number 25, Rebecca Clausen. Number 26, Evelyn Wagner. And number 99, Camille Segisio. The Cardinals are coached by Danielle Fiala. She is assisted by Claire Norfleet and Kaylin Splateau. The faculty mentor is John Small. At this time, we ask that you please rise and face the flag at the south end of the field as we honor America with the playing of the national anthem.
Cut it right now. I gotta do a battery. It's only 39 minutes. You think I'll make it or no? Okay.
Yeah, here we go, car!
Welcome in, everybody, to NCTV 17, a production of Cardinal Lacrosse, as North Central welcomes Elmhurst to Benedetti Worley Stadium this evening. The Cardinals are off to a fantastic start in 2018. 12-1, they're 2-0 in conference play. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays enter 5-7, they're 0-3 in the conference. And this might be a bit of a lopsided affair by the time this one's over if the Cardinals can have anything to say about it. We are just about set for the opening possession as both teams have taken the field. It is a cold and misty afternoon, and it has turned into a cold and misty evening as the Cardinals and the Blue Jays ready. And at 7:02, we're off and running. Cardinals are coming off of back-to-back wins against Adrian College and Carthage College up out of the Illinois border. Shot on goal bounces and misses wide of the target. Cardinals awarded the ball. Nellie Scranton gets it out in front, but it's knocked away. Out in front, and it's already a goal for Abbey Records, I believe. And it is Abbey Records.
Goal by North Central College.
And Records, a freshman from Chesterfield, Missouri,
North Central College.
is just one of many in 2018.
13.
Records now with 43 goals on the campaign. She also has 26 assists, leading to 69 points in the early season as the Cardinals lead 1-0 just 37 seconds into our contest tonight. Again, makes Richardson Clerk doing a phenomenal job at midfield and throws it out ahead. Lights have already taken full effect on a dark and gloomy day. With it is Jessica Deachin, swarmed by a trio of Blue Jays, dishes off and gets it back. To the middle it goes, and the pass intended and nearly out the back of the end line, but picked up by the Cardinals. Lofted out in front, and that one's loose and for the taking as it rolls to the sideline. And it will stay in bounds, compliments of Deachin. Picking it up is Katie Engel. Engel slides to the right and gives off to Richardson Clerk, who floats it near side Deachin. Nice move to the net, and a whistle blows before she could get the shot off. Clock will stop at 28-13 here in the opening half. And a free shot on goal coming for Deachin at that 10-meter line. Deachin bounces it in, and that's the second goal of the contest. North Central leads 2-0. And the stick check should be coming momentarily.
Goal by North Central by number 20, Jessica Deachin.
So 2 minutes into the contest, North Central leads 2-0. It was a shocking victory the last time North Central took the field. That was against Augustana College. And prior to that, North Central had not beaten the Vikings in 8 tries. You would think that once they did prevail, it would be by a narrow margin. That was not the case. The Cardinals walloped the Vikings by a 26-5 score in a season record-breaking performance. That was an unbelievable offensive turnout, and they did it from the get-go. They stepped on the accelerator and never stepped off, leading coast to coast and never for even a moment giving the momentum to Augustana. Truly a dominant display from North Central, and that is certainly a big reason why this team is riding high at the moment. There's 4 games, including tonight, remaining on the schedule. Pounding away and trying to find a teammate is Grace Noble, and she does, able to dish it off. With it is Isabel Walker. As Walker tries to turn a corner, and it is past the outstretched stick of Camille Sigisio. And she's able to collect it as well, lofts it ahead, and the Cardinals are off and running with Evelyn Wagner. Tosses out in front, and a scrum for it. It'll be picked up by Nellie Scranton. And A nifty pass, a little too hot to handle for Christina Truver, but she picks it up. Records stops on a dime and will allow the offense to set up a half-court set. Truver to the middle and able to weave in and out is Grace Steiner. And does the exact same thing for a second time. Deachin with it in her pocket. Back to Steiner, bounces it in. 3-0 North Central. 26-34 in the first half. And North Central already leads 3-0. We predicted that this would probably be the case this evening. North Central is one of the top teams in the CCIW. They're currently second overall with a 12-1 record behind only Carroll, who is 13-0. Illinois Wesleyan is 9-4. And those three teams are the only perfect remaining squads in conference play. Carroll and Illinois Wesleyan are both 3-0. North Central hopes to move to 3-0 tonight with a win over Elmhurst. Elmhurst, for its part, is one of the only two winless teams in conference play, joining Augustana, who is also 0-3. And what a remarkable fall from grace for the Vikings, who had been dominant in recent years, but now find themselves not only winless in the conference, but just 6-6 overall. Tough start to the 2018 season, and as conference play comes to a close and the tournament at year's end draws near, it looks like the Vikings are going to be on the outside looking in. And it looks like the Cardinals might be inside looking out and perhaps looking at one of the top two seeds and a chance to host at least a game, or maybe even two. Deachin with it, has pressure from behind, didn't feel it coming, and has it whacked away, but picking that one up is Truver, lofts it ahead. And a big collision, and hitting the deck is a Cardinal. That's Katie Engel, who picks it up and whizzes in. Richardson Clerk to the middle, a cutter, and it's good. Truver sliced right across the middle, and North Central now leads 4-0.
Goal by North Central by number 13, Christina Truver, and assisted by 14, Mink Richardson Clerk.
For Truver, who is the second leading goal scorer on this team, tied with Jessica Deachin. That is the 36th goal, and with Deachin having already scored as well, that is her 36th goal, so they remain tied for second behind Addie Records, who has 43. Not sure how often we'll see the Cardinal defense tested tonight, but it's anchored by arguably the top goalkeeper in conference, at least statistically speaking, in Camille Sigisio. The 5'3" junior from Wisconsin is the conference's leader in many categories. That includes save percentage at just under 55%. And goals against average, which is a shade under 8. Shelby Schub of Carroll is the top mark, 5.5 a game. That one's just wide and awarded to Elmhurst. Aside from Sigisio, on the leaderboard across the statistical categories, Addie Records is listed a couple of times. Once on assists per game, averages 2 on the dot. And also in points per game, she is second in the league as well, at 5.23, behind just one player from Carroll. Deachin to the middle. Scranton sees a wall and backs it out appropriately. And find Minx Richardson Clerk. Clerk bounces into the lane and tosses it off the twine. Cardinals lead 5-0. This Cardinal team, an extremely young roster. In fact, not a single senior is listed for the Cardinals.
Goal by North Central by number 14, Mink Richardson Clerk.
Taking that a step further, the only listed eligibility-wise juniors on this roster are the two goalkeepers in Segisio and Abigail Lears. Everybody else is a sophomore or a freshman. So not only has Danielle Fiala built a winner in 2018, she is setting herself up and this team up for sustained success over the next few years at the minimum. And that is not to say anything of the potential recruiting classes that success like this can certainly aid. Richardson Clerk bounces off a defender. With 23:53 to play, the Cardinals go back to work on the offensive end. The Blue Jays with just one offensive possession, and it was a missed shot wide of the net. Cardinals pick it up. Maddie McHugh behind the net. And an errant pass winds its way towards midfield, and it's picked up by Richardson Clerk. 23.5 to go in this first half. Deachin flies by and gets blocked. The ball off to the right, and the Cardinals have it out in front. Richardson Clerk changes directions and still gets the goal despite the penalty. That was a delayed call by the officials, and the goal will count, and the Cardinals will lead 6-0. 7 minutes into this contest. Keep in mind that should the Cardinals...
Goal by number 14, Mink Richardson Clerk.
Should the Cardinals make it to 10 goals and a 10-goal lead, the clock would then not stop on goals and some other various plays. Right now, North Central leads 6-0. They still have a ways to go to get to that 10-goal lead, and that's not to say anything about a potential Blue Jay offensive attack, although we've only seen one, which did not come away with anything. Richardson Clerk still battling for it, as is Truver. And finally, it's won by Ellen Brown of the Blue Jays. She's still being swamped, though, by Cardinals. To midfield, picked up, and another long pass required, and that's well over the head of its intended target, and will roll out of bounds, and the Cardinals will get possession. Tossed in, and the Cardinals are off and running past midfield. Deachin back with it. Gives off. Now rejected out in front and picked back up by Truver. Out in front, missed wide, and the Cardinals' Maddie McHugh, the closest to the end line, and picks up the ball, and we'll get that ball back in play. 22 minutes of play in the first half. Another pass out in front and trying to chip that one in. An unsuccessful try. Well, the hope is that today is the last day of crummy weather for a while. Not that you can trust extended forecasts, but right now the 10-day forecast for the Naperville area is a nice spin move put on by Truver, but the shot falls short. A takeaway, though, from the Cardinals. As Deachin has it, throws it out in front once more. Now, the extended forecast shows no more rain, at least for the next week and a half. And shot out in front, Richardson Clerk trying to gain possession, and finally does. Good hand-eye coordination. And finally, a hard-fought goal put in by Maddie McHugh. And the Cardinals at 7. 7-0 lead over the Blue Jays. Today's the last day, according to the forecast, that there will be rain predicted. It will still be cold, but at least it won't be raining and it won't be windy. And hopefully it'll be sunny as well. We're going to step aside as a timeout's taken by Elmhurst. The North Central Cardinals lead 7-0. You're watching Cardinal Lacrosse on NCTV 17. Welcome back. 21:07 to play in the first half, and the Cardinals already racing out to a 7-0 advantage over the Elmhurst Blue Jays. Cardinals win the opening face-off and get back to the offensive end where they've been for maybe 98% of this game. All but just a few moments, and here's another goal. Jessica Dietjen finds virtually no opposition on her way to the net and finds the 8th tally of the contest for North Central. Unbelievable display of offense tonight for this women's lacrosse team, showing they are virtually unstoppable.
20, Jessica Dietjen.
So to recap, in just the first 9 minutes of play, the Cardinals have goals from Addie Records, Christina Truver, 1. Maddie McHugh with 1, Grace Steiner with 1, and with multiple tallies now, Richardson, Clerk, and Dietjen. And that sums up the Cardinals' 8-0 advantage to this point. And a whistle will go against the Cardinals, awarded to the Blue Jays, and now they have a shot at trying to set something up on offense. As the haze continues to blanket Benedetti Worley Stadium here on the campus of North Central College, and a sandwich called on North Central. And the ball pops loose. With it is Isabel Walker. Lofts it ahead. Out in front. And a nice move. Shot on goal. Sigisio covers it up. Ellen Brown unable to convert. And the Blue Jays' best scoring chance to this point. As we've hit 10 minutes into our game, the Cardinals lead 8-0 over the Elmhurst Blue Jays on a gloomy, rainy day At Benedetti Worley Stadium, the pass goes errant, and the Blue Jays near picking it up. Records jars it loose and is able to take that ball away. (8-0) lead for NCC, and they will settle into the half-field set. Truver juking left and right, tries to find somebody in the middle. Instead, it's Matty McHugh trying to brush it out in front. Gathers it, throws it up, and is able to convert on the pass to Steiner. Another cutter, and all in one motion. Catching and releasing and scoring. North Central gets a goal from Katie Engel. An impressive tally, and it gives the Cardinals a 9-0 advantage.
North Central College goal by number 18, Katie Engel, and assisted by number 20, Jessica Deachin.
Cardinal faithful showing up despite the conditions today. A lot of umbrellas down on the concourse. Brave souls coming out here tonight. And there are those umbrellas. Kudos to you guys. I will take my free spot in the press box. Away from the elements. Cardinals back on the offensive end, and it's Richardson Clerk racing up the field. And that one was a pass, but it wound up in the netting of the goalkeeper for Elmhurst, as it's back to midfield. Blue Jays with 2 chances so far. One of them was on net, one wasn't, and the one that was on net was promptly saved by Segisio. Cardinals are fitting like a glove defensively, trying to keep Ellen Brown from advancing upfield, and now she finally finds some wiggle room. 17:55 to go here in the first half, and she gives it off to Yaziria Cristineros. Grace Noble, the team's leading scorer with 50 goals, tries to find a crevice to sneak through, and, well, Richardson Clerk is unforgiving, and it's picked up by Deachin on the fly, and she throws it out ahead. 17.5 to go, and the Cardinals whizzing back up the field. Move put on by Steiner, and she gives off. Records trying to find somebody to go to. There was an open cutter, but no way to get it to her. And the Cardinals will reset. Pass going wide, and Richardson Clerk picking it up. Clerk denied. In the middle it goes, and a fight for it, and finally won by Elmhurst, but picked up by the Cardinals, and the shot by Matty McHugh went just over the top crossbar. So she got hit multiple times as well, but no whistle blows. And now the Cardinals defending on the Blue Jays side of the field, and it goes into the crease, and the goalkeeper Megan Keener picks it up. Keener, an Ohio native, looks for an option, an outlet to go to, and is finding nothing right now. And finally gets it outside, and it's an errant pass, and casually gone after, and now nearly stuck in the corner is Brown. And that might cost her, and it does, as Deachin swipes it. Now ISO on Keener and zips it in for the Cardinals' 10th goal of the contest. 15:42 to go here in the first half. We're not even halfway through, and the Cardinals will have a working running clock from here on out as long as they can sustain this 10-goal lead.
Goal by number 20, Jessica Deachin.
Deachin scoring her third, if I'm not mistaken, of this contest. And that is the case. She has 5 points overall, 3 goals to go along with 2 assists. "15 minutes to go, and keep in mind the clock is now running indefinitely until the officials whistle to stop it for a particular reason. It will not stop on a goal, and I don't believe it stops on a penalty either. As Deachin goes to the middle, and met is Truver, and she'll shovel it off. Richardson Clerk with a wonderful move. Finds her way to the net and converts her third goal. She keeps pace with Deachin. And now she has 5 points as well. 11-0 to score. 14:05 to go here in the first half.
Mink Richardson Clerk.
At this pace, the Cardinals may very well challenge their season high in goals at 26, which they scored against Augustana to begin the month. That was on April 4th, 2 weeks ago today. Cardinals wrap up the home slate on Saturday as they host the University of Dubuque here inside Benedetti Worley Stadium. After that, they're on the road to finish up the year against the top 2 teams in conference not named North Central. That would be Illinois Wesleyan and Carroll. A trip 2 hours south to Bloomington, a trip 2 hours north to Waukesha, Wisconsin. Out in front, and it's picked off by the Blue Jays, and Richardson Clerk winds up with it. Angles underneath to McHugh. Can't tell if this is a rain or a snow that is currently falling, but I do know that dropping that one in is McHugh for a goal, and it's a dozen for North Central. And just keep pouring it on. I believe the rain has turned to snow. It might be a wet, sleety snow, but snow nonetheless, as you get a great picture there. And it's just wafting into the stadium. There's a beautiful sight right there. Not for anybody who's actually out here, but I'm sure on your computer screen or your television screen that is a picturesque shot right there. What you don't feel in your home is, well, the 40-degree weather and the wind that's blowing it sideways ever so gently. The officials will stop the time at 12:03. I'm not quite sure why. Stick might have broke. Oh, or did they wave that goal off? I don't believe they're going to count that last goal. And if that is the case, that is the first time I've ever seen where the stick check following a tally doesn't count. So take that away. It's not a dozen. It's still 11-0. With it is Walker. She turns on the spin cycle against Richardson Clerk. But the sophomore not being left out to dry. Long blast out in front, big bounce towards midfield, and it's anybody's ball, and it's picked up by Elmhurst. Again, it's Walker who just made that shot a moment ago. Walker with it, 11 to play here in the first half. Cardinals lead 11-0. Out in front to the right side. And now a shot on goal that gets past Sigisio and awarded to Yaziria Kisneros. Blue Jays with their best opportunity and still cannot score. Richardson Clerk going after it, scoops it up off the turf, lofts it ahead, and finds a teammate, and the Cardinals escape another threat made by the Blue Jays. And a one-on-one, and the Cardinals score again. Grace Steiner with the tally, and it's a dozen for the second time tonight after that first goal was wiped off the board, although maybe I should be hesitant to declare this a goal. Hey, we're good this time. Let's make it a dozen, shall we?
North Central College goal by number 22, Grace Steiner.
9 minutes ago, running clock here in the first half. It'll be the same way throughout the rest of our contests as well. It's not a running clock during the half, though. That would be something else. Blue Jays with it. Cardinals flanking on either side. And settling this one down is Walker. And let's go ahead and welcome in our color analyst of the contest tonight, and Zach Bucher. Hello there, Mr. Bucher. How are you this evening?
Quite good, now that I'm here.
Rain, weather, not a very fun evening to be outside in the elements, I'm sure.
No, not at all. Made getting here a little more difficult.
I'm sure. Blue Jays continue to play around the net. 8 minutes to go here in the first half. Can you imagine being outside right now, playing this game in these conditions? Maybe it feels good with all the cardio that the Cardinals are doing, running up and down the field, but for everybody else standing still, as Sigisio tries to cover up another ball and does inside the crease. Can't imagine this would be a fun game to take in as a spectator here inside Benedetti Worley Stadium.
No, it's cold and it's wet and it's not a very good combination, but there's still plenty of fans here in the stands.
Now, was I mistaken, or was that actually snow earlier, about 5 minutes ago?
There was snow on the. It's kind of a combination of snow and rain, so.
A big push out in front, and Nellie Scranton was bounced backwards. And nasty conditions today. That's been the case for the last week or so, with a ton of athletic events being canceled, not just at the college level, not just here at North Central, but professional sports. And those have dedicated grounds crews to try and get fields ready. It's just not possible. Off the post, and Scranton rejected by the pipe. And Blue Jays claim it, and play will resume despite what I thought was a delayed penalty call. But the Blue Jays will play on, and the Cardinals will try and take it away. it's just been so cold. It hasn't been practical to try and get these games in unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing, especially in the part of the schedule that the Cardinals are in, being conference play. These are games that you have to get in one way or another.
It's not usually this cold in April. Usually by now you're playing somewhere in the 40s or 50s on a consistent basis. And the last time North Central was home, it was against Augustana, and we received a note that the Cardinals hadn't played a game above 35 degrees yet at home this year. Are you kidding me?
I'm sure if you would have told anyone, staff or player, at the beginning of the season that that was going to be the case, they would have called you crazy.
Crazy no more. Penalty out in front. Scranton. Take that back. Truver will nestle in at the line. She'll go one-on-one with Keener and gets it by her. Goes net side and tallies up a Baker dozen. 13 goals for North Central with 5:35 to go here in the first half. What a start this is for North Central. The defensemen are currently doing laps around the opposing net, trying to stay warm. They haven't been worked a whole lot in this game. Blue Jays with maybe one extended offensive possession, but that's about it.
Christina Truver.
Truver, the goal scorer.
And on my way over here, I heard your intro about it being potentially a lopsided affair. I don't particularly think you thought it would be this lopsided.
Maybe not this quickly. Even against Augustana, who the Cardinals ended up soundly beating 26-5, they waited a little while to go up by 10. I think it was even in the second half that they ended up going up by 10. They're comfortably up now 13, and we haven't even hit the break. An impressive offensive display for North Central.
But going back to the Augustana game, we saw very easily how these girls can score and how quickly and aggressive their offensive potential is. And that was against an Augustana team that is nothing to laugh at.
At least wasn't. I mean, that was a team that was the poster child for consistency over the last number of years for the conference. And this year, they're 0-3. It's kind of a sharp downturn for that Viking program. Not sure if they've just faced the wrong teams already. Maybe they've already played Carroll, Illinois Wesleyan, and North Central. You could take a deeper look at that, but you know, Augustana was one of the top-tier teams, the team that North Central was chasing for a while to try and get into that upper echelon of the CCIW.
And as you mentioned in that Augustana game, Augustana was coming off of a regular season championship in the CCIW. So it's not very often that a program declines that significantly over the course of one season.
3:33 to go, and the pass lofted behind the net to Maddie McHugh. And that is actually the case for Augustana. They have played the three worst teams to play in the CCIW. They lost to North Central 26-5, to Illinois Wesleyan 18-3, and to Carroll 10-5. Which, if you're going to use common opponents as a barometer to see just how the Cardinals are this year, they whooped them pretty good, and they whooped them the best of those three teams. I mean, you could say Illinois Wesleyan headed down a beatdown with 18-3 the final, but that Cardinal score is pretty indisputable. Passes or make that shot is wide, and the Cardinals recover, but a whistle blows, and the Cardinals will have it. Abby make that Addy records with it.
And it's unfortunate that those games happened against Augustana, and the Cardinals won't get to play those two teams until the last two games of the season. So you don't really get to see just how good this team is.
And it's going to be on the road to finish up the year, so we won't be able to witness it with our own eyes here inside Benedetti Worley Stadium. However, should the Cardinals take care of business, and if they can win at least one, if not both of those games, we will see a game here played on the North Central campus. In lacrosse, unlike many of the other sports, there is not one host school. The higher seed hosts that semifinal game, and then it reseeds. So even if the 3 seed wins, if the 4 seed upsets the number 1 team, then the 3 seed hosts. So the Cardinals could host one, if not two games in the conference tournament. First, they got to get there, though.
Yes. But, you know, given the way they've played this season so far, it's not something that's out of the realm to host two games here. If they continue to play the way they have been with how aggressive and potent their offense is, it's a very realistic thing.
Evelyn Wagner just misses left of that post. Cardinals still with it, though, and out in front and scoring. Jessica Dietjen finds the back of the net yet again. And it's 14-0 with 63 ticks remaining in the opening half. Extremely fast first half, I might add.
And, you know, in the Augustana game, we were talking about how slowly that first half went, and that just goes to show you the difference in caliber of the games that the Cardinals have played against a team like Augustana, who has a little bit more offense and defense. They battled with them in the first half. It just seems that Elmhurst doesn't have an answer.
30 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining.
They had a chance. They had a couple out in front of the net. They couldn't convert. And the Cardinals are well on their way to a victory tonight. We hope you will stick with us for the second half. Let's see if the Cardinals can challenge that 26-goal record they set earlier in the season. Ball popped up and still being fought for. The control finally won by North Central with 4 ticks remaining. Will they put a shot on goal? 2-1 and unable to let it rip. The Cardinals will hit the half only up 14-0. We'll step aside. Halftime is upon us. The second half draws near. We'll be back in just a jiff.
Cardinals 14.
On your home for Cardinal Athletics, NCTV 17 and on nctv17.com. Put 30 minutes up on the clock, and we're just about set for the second half of play here from Benedetti Worley Stadium. And away we go. Blue Jays off to what you could say is a slow start here tonight. They've had some offensive chances but have not cashed in. And they get the opening face-off win. Can they put this ball into the back of the net? That is the question.
And if you're Elmhurst, goal number 1 was winning the opening face-off to start the second half. If you're going to try and get back into this game, you absolutely needed to get that. And now goal number 2 is to score a goal to try and get some momentum now.
And even just some confidence. I mean, it's a little demoralizing to be shut out over the course of a full 60 minutes. You want to put something up on the board. And a whistle blows, and a penalty against the Cardinals, I believe, should award Grace Noble a shot dead on Segisio. And this is a dangerous situation for NCC with Noble, the Blue Jays' top scorer. And blocked by Segisio. And the Blue Jays had it, and it's taken away by NCC. So once again, the Cardinals able to escape danger. And now it's a 4-on-3. Cardinals with the man advantage.
Unfortunately for Elmhurst, North Central has got a pretty good one there in goal, as we've seen over the last couple of games.
Segisio's been rock solid. .55% save percentage. Blocked by Keener, and a Cardinal hits the deck. And the ground ball won by NCC, and now thrown out in front and picked up by the Cardinals' Truver. Swung around, and it's with Records and across over to Scranton. Lofted up top. Richardson Clerk with it. Gives off. 27-28 to go here in the second half. And a goal put in by Scranton. Make it 15-0. North Central scoring yet again. Very nifty pass out in front of the net.
Yeah, and you know, usually in games like this, you're up 14, now 15-0. Some teams might get a little lackadaisical on offense. And maybe do some things that aren't fundamentally or proper for the game, but it seems as though North Central is continuing to run their offense and work on things that may help them out down the line in the season.
3 games after today, 1 at home, and that's against the University of Dubuque, who is 1-2 in conference play, if I'm not mistaken. They are 1-2 in conference play. And the final 2 games are going to be real tests. They're on the road against the top 2 teams in conference, aside from North Central and Carroll and Illinois Wesleyan. And to be facing those teams at the end of the season is interesting to begin with. You add in the element of having to travel to those 2 teams. And those should be really solid tests to kind of figure out where this Cardinal team truly is. Yeah, well, where the ball is in the back of the net yet again. And I believe that might have been Scranton again. And it was 16-0, but it's kind of an odd deal. But maybe that might be best for the Cardinals to get the momentum, and they hit the end of the season, and they'll go into the conference tournament knowing exactly where they are.
Yeah, and in a lot of sports, it's not necessarily who is the better team. I go by the philosophy of it's whoever's playing their best ball at that time that's going to potentially do well and win games that they probably shouldn't on paper. So going into the conference tournament, maybe with a couple of wins under your belt against the 2 top teams that you need to face, you could be riding high if you're the Cardinals.
And that one is going to be still loose. I thought the Cardinals were going to pick it up. But the Blue Jays get it. And here they come. Again, they have not found their way onto the scoreboard. And Ellen Brown with it now behind the net. 25 minutes ago here in the game. Inside Benedetti Worley Stadium, the mist continues to fall. Not nearly as thick as it was earlier in the evening. It has come and gone, at one point seemingly turned to snow. And there it is. The Blue Jays finally get on the board, and Elmhurst now trails 16-1.
It's got to feel, of course it's got to feel good if you're the Blue Jays. Now you finally have broken the seal and you're on the board. Now you got to start the ball rolling again, and maybe, just maybe, they might make this game a little more interesting, but who knows?
Isabel Walker, the goal scorer. Game's already so interesting, Zach. I don't know what you're talking about. The Cardinals really not leaving any doubt as to who's winning this one, but there is still intrigue. I would say, you know, you look at the way this Cardinal offense is clicking, it's pretty fun to watch. The way that they use cutters and kind of manipulate where the defense is looking, that's some sophisticated stuff coming from Danielle Fialda and the coaching staff.
Yeah, they do a good job of moving off the ball and setting good screens, and their defense does a really good job of preventing anything easy. And then, as we've mentioned before, Segizio is just lights out.
Back with it, near side is Brown. And stalls and stalls and waits. And finally gives off. Cardinals refusing to stretch their defense outside that set perimeter.
And at this point in the game, I don't blame them. They don't need to.
Richardson Clark with some textbook defense, and Segizio collects the ball and lofts it out in front. Cardinals with it. Another save for the junior. Segizio very well could end up with the best season in Cardinal history in between the pipes.
At the rate that she's going, with just how solid she is in goal. You mentioned earlier 55% save percentage. That's pretty impressive.
McHugh got a screen and somehow still splits the defenders on the way back around. 17-1. That was an unbelievable individual effort there. She shook free for a moment, found a wall, and then somehow slipped past and got to the net.
Yeah, really good body control, not getting too ahead of herself, and just really being patient with the play, letting it develop in front of her, and just splitting the defenders when it counted the most.
17-1, North Central. McHugh actually had a goal taken away from her earlier. Her stick did not pass the inspection following the goal, but does here, and she has her second tally of the evening. Checking back in on that stat sheet, let's go and run through the scores tonight. Jessica Deachin with 4. She also has 3 assists, total up 7 points. The other main goal scorer is Richardson Clark with 3 goals and a couple of assists to total 5. Records with 3 points, Scranton with 2. Truver 3, McHugh 2, Steiner 2, and Angle with a goal. Contributions up and down the lineup.
And that's something that we saw a lot of even in the Augustana game. Everyone on this team does a really good job of contributing on both defense, offense, and just getting the offense going with assists and whatnot.
20-23 to go. And a free shot coming up for the Blue Jays on that 10-meter line. And the bouncer still gets past Segizio. Second goal allowed, and the Blue Jays cut the lead back down to 15 for a second time. So the Cardinals will have a couple of days off, and in the meantime, hopefully the nasty weather will clear out of here. And on Saturday, they'll host the University of Dubuque at 4 o'clock, and they'll have a chance to go 4-0 in conference before hitting that tough road slate. Seems like a lot of success has been circulating here at the athletic campus at North Central. I mean, you look at the men's volleyball team and their run to the conference tournament. They were unbeaten in conference play. This women's lacrosse team has the same opportunity to do just that. That's hard to do.
It really is, especially at the college level. You do see sometimes there are teams that just absolutely dominate anyone and everyone in their conference or whoever they play. But the CCIW is one of the tougher conferences I've experienced. So to see those two teams do what they are doing or what they have done, it's pretty impressive, and you got to be excited if you're a Cardinal fan.
Records hit as she tried to release, and she'll get a free shot. It's been a fun spring, and I hesitate to say spring because it truly doesn't feel that way. His record will try and sing a new tune. 18-2 now, with 18:20 to go here in the game. Not to mention the baseball team, which is already, they did lose in conference once, but you play so many games, it's to be expected. You might have a dud here and there, but
North Central
they made that run to the College World Series last year, and they very well could be going right back to it.
Yeah, and baseball is one of those sports where if you're just having an off day, there's nothing you can do about it. In a sport where success 30% of the time is considered really good, there are going to be a lot of off days. People go in slumps. Pitching just won't be there. But I got to experience that baseball team firsthand a few weeks back, and they did a really good job of executing offense, getting 2-out hits, knocking people in here and there when they needed to. The pitching got out of hand a little bit, but what good teams do is they won't let emotions run high and start to freak out when a team starts to make a comeback. They lock it down and they get the job done, and that's what they did. So it was fun to watch. It's been a fun spring.
It really has, and you actually mentioned early on succeeding 30% of the time is considered a success in that sport. I don't know what you would consider Emily Miller's season as Segisio makes another save. That one was beautiful. Ball pops loose and whistle called. But you want to call 30% a success. How about Emily Miller in her .540 batting average with 20 doubles and 2 triples this season? She's a freshman center fielder for the softball team. And I can truly say I have never seen somebody who just utterly dominates at quite that level.
I mean, softball is the same case. I mean, it's a different game, yes, when you look at it. But when it comes down to the execution, the offense, it's essentially the same game. So to see numbers like that, as you said, that's incredible. And to see someone dominate at that level, especially in college, you gotta just be in wow.
And that's why, in large part, this softball team is 20-2, and they're 6-0 in conference play. They've won 11 in a row, and their only losses have come by narrow margins. Once to Franklin College to open up a doubleheader. They won the second one. And the other loss was suffered to St. Mary's College, in which, again, a split doubleheader. And this team very well could end up being in the, the equivalent of the College World Series on the softball side.
And what you really have, when you look at stuff like that, you always look at the talent on the roster. You know, which player is dominating, which player or players are really helping to lift this team. But you also have to give the coaching staff credit where it's due to be able to bring that team to that level of success is something to say about their way they coach or manage the game.
Out in front of the net, still with it, and the Blue Jays score once more. Yziria Kisneros tallies up another goal, and it's now 18-3 with under 15 to go in the contest. Keep in mind, it is a running clock right now. We haven't mentioned that in a little while. When the lead is more than 10, the clock continues to roll. So even though it's a stoppage, the clock continues to wind. We're actually already at 14 minutes now. A lot of time winds off the clock in these particular moments as a timeout is taken. So now the clock will stop. But North Central just looks to waste the rest of the clock and get out of here with a victory against Elmhurst. We'll step aside. We'll be back in about a minute at NCTV 17. Welcome back. 13:55 remaining on the clock here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. The Cardinals looking to remain perfect in conference play this season. They've only dropped one contest this year, and they should seriously be considered for one of the top 25 spots in the country. And they very well may certify their spot if they can close out the season undefeated, seeing that they're going to be playing two teams that are really strong this year. Their only loss came against Colorado College out in Colorado Springs as Elmhurst scores again to make it an 18-4 score. That was a 21-13 loss, so high scoring. And perhaps, I believe, really the only time the Cardinal defense got away from them.
It's a Blue Jay goal by number 21.
You say their defense got away from them, and ever since then, whatever they did to change it or make an adjustment to their defense, it's been working.
Seems to have, because after that game, they did beat Albion 14-11. But after that, they haven't given up double-digit goals in a game since. Before that, that was a streak of 4 consecutive games they've given up at least 10, including that loss. But it's been stingy since, and especially in conference play, it's been really hard to score against. Cardinals back to the offensive end and getting whacked from behind. This is Deachin. 12:15 to go in the second half. Thanks for joining us tonight on NCTV 17 or on NCTV17.com. Kevin Jackman, Zach Bucher here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. It's a cold, rainy, gloomy day all day and all night. But I can't complain too much. It's still fairly warm up here in the press box.
And the Cardinals are winning.
And the Cardinals are winning, yes. And they're winning by even more now. And that was Maddie McHugh for her second goal of the second half. 3 goals total for the sophomore. Again, I mentioned this in the first half, but what a young team.
Yeah, we talked about it in the Augustana game. Only 2 juniors.
By number 17,
and they both played the same position.
And they still have another year of playing. So you look at the way this team is playing this year, 12-1, soon to be 3-0 in conference, beating Augustana, setting a program record for a single game in goals. They're already making so much progress, and there's still so much lacrosse to be played amongst these girls.
It's really exciting thinking about the future, but at the same time, you don't want to take your eyes off the present, because this team very well may contend at season's end for something bigger than just a conference tournament berth or even a conference tournament title. That's the hope. I mean, every team goes into the season hoping to win conference, but after that is kind of the icing on top of the cake. This year, the conference title might be the cake, and the icing might be something after that.
Yeah, if this team, the way they've been playing, if they can keep that up, everything that you just mentioned is an extremely realistic thing. And it's going to be up to the coaching staff to keep this young team, though, down to earth, because it can be easy for players, especially young players, to get ahead of themselves and be high on all the winning, and then you run into a team that's no slouch, and you need to be attentive and you need to be on your game against those kind of teams, aka the last 2 games of the season.
Yeah, can't go into those thinking you're about to win 26-5 again. Improbable, to say the least. That one's out of the back of the end zone and awarded to the Blue Jays. We've wound under 10 minutes to play in the game. It's going to be a real fast one. Thrown to the sideline, rolling, and should slow up. It's only 8:15 right now. This game could end before 8:30, and that's a blistering pace. Considering the game is 60 minutes long, with a 10-minute half, you're talking about only 20 minutes of dead time. That's unusual. These players must also want to get out of this weather.
I would not blame them. I've played baseball in something similar, and it's not fun when you're standing in the outfield in 30 degrees snow/rain.
Yeah, that's no fun. And it just seems like that particular set of circumstances keep hovering. Just keep hanging around. Got to kick it and get into summer. Long pass misses its target, but Addy Records is there to pick it up.
And that's another thing that I've noticed about this Cardinal team over the last couple of games that we've called. The ball just seems to bounce their way. You know, you get this long pass that misses the target, but there's a Cardinal player right there waiting to grab the ball and prevent a turnover.
Thrown up front, and there's another one. Richardson Clerk right there. And she's rejected entry into the lane. Still trying to find a way in. Dumps it off, and good. Out in front of the net. And scoring again is Nellie Scranton. Creative move from Richardson Clerk.
Yeah, that goal was absolutely set up by Richardson Clerk, doing a good job of trying to drive past the defense, and the defense was obviously way more focused on her than they were on Scranton, and Scranton was just able to squeeze through, and a little loft pass leads to a goal.
By number 14,
7 minutes remaining.
Richardson Clerk.
Cardinals now lead 20-4. Hey now.
It's definitely doable. We talked about it in the Augustana game. Probably a few more minutes on the clock, but we talked that they could do it.
To me, it's not if they can do it, it's do they want to do it. If they really put the pedal to the metal, they could probably get to 27 right now. But do you really want to do that?
It's very true, especially when, well...
Well...
I don't think I'll finish that thought.
Yeah. 21. Who was the goal scorer there? I even lost track of it. I think it's Maddie McHugh. It is. And keep in mind, she had a goal taken away earlier. It could be 22 right now. Said it's 21. 21-4. There's 6 minutes remaining. The biggest obstacle, I think, would be the time spent getting back to midfield.
Absolutely.
Funny enough.
And we thought that the last time they played and they got the program record, they got it with about a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes left in the game, and we thought, well, if they get the ball again, they're going to run the clock out. They got the record, and they sent the message that they needed to against Augustana. Nope, with time expiring, no one in goal, they throw in the 26th.
They almost just threw a number 23 here. Make that 22, excuse me.
So what you said about them potentially trying to put the pedal to the metal, clearly not out of sight.
Taken away by the Blue Jays, although jarred loose again, and the Cardinals take it. No! I take that back. Elmhurst still controlling. And finally comes loose again. Battle for it. Ground ball still being fought over, and Nellie Scranton had it for a moment. Now Jessica Dietchen is trekking it down and boots it farther up the field. Truver battling for it. This is one heck of a long ground ball, and finally won by North Central. Who said this game isn't interesting?
I feel like that was an instance of the weather playing a factor.
Cold, wet, your finger mobility is probably low, your hand-eye coordination's a tad slow. Although nothing about this Cardinal team I would say is slow. Not tonight, not this season. Blistering fast offensive pace. They score seemingly at will. 4 minutes to go. Thrown up top. Slips out the back, and the Cardinals can't challenge for it. No shot. That one comes out and over everything off the back of the end zone. Blue Jays back with it.
It's an awkward situation for the Blue Jays because they're in a situation where they probably want to score again, get some looks for their team, but at the same time you score or not score and give the ball back, you run the risk of the Cardinals running the score up again.
Like this. Addie Records stops on a dime and tries to dish it out wide, and the ball now rolling towards the end line, and it'll be picked up. 3 minutes remaining in our game tonight. Cardinals on the verge of going 13-1, including 3-0 in conference play. Lofted in the end zone. Out in front, and a misfire on the pass attempt. The ground ball slips through the legs of a Cardinal. Now being batted at. Nice job winning that ball for NCC. That was Annabelle Steiner. Out in front, and another misfire. This one is towards midfield, picked up by NCC. Richardson Clerk lofts it ahead. 11 seconds to try and score. Oh my goodness. Hey now. What a goal put in by Annabelle Steiner.
Nice spin move and what looked to be like a Euro step to get through the defense.
And no traveling call. What a travesty. I joke. There is no traveling in lacrosse.
Goal by number 23, Annabelle Steiner.
That'd be much more. It's an interesting sport to begin with. That would make it a whole heck of a lot harder. So the Cardinals lead 22-4. And there's about 1:15 remaining. Under a minute to play, and the Cardinals with it. They can simply waste the clock if they want. Although at this point, I'm not going to venture and say they're going to do that. No, instead, Richardson Clerk takes it right to the net.
Through the teeth of the defense. Really got smacked on that drive to the net.
Kind of ironic when you try and say a phrase having to deal with teeth and it gets stuck in your mouth.
The irony.
I believe that was our cameraman, Gabriel McDonough. You heard in the background over the crowd mic. Yeah. Big thanks to him tonight for sticking this one out in the cold and the rain. Great job on camera. Dave Sapadin back in the NCTV 17 studios, helping us out this evening. 5 seconds remaining. The Cardinals on the verge of winning 23-4. And that, my friends, will be the final. We'll have one more broadcast of this North Central lacrosse team, and that'll come on Saturday. Won't you join us? Looking forward to that one, Zach. And this Cardinal team is motoring towards the end of the season.
Yeah, and you mentioned the Saturday game with the way this team is playing. If the weather is anything that's nice or, you know, not this, come on out. Enjoy a great lacrosse game. These girls are playing at a very high level and just doing a phenomenal job on offense and defense. You can't say it enough about anyone on this team. Everyone's contributing and they're going in the right direction.
Big thanks to everybody involved. I already thanked Gabriel McDonough and Dave Sapadin alongside Zach Bucher. I'm Kevin Jackman. We'll see you Saturday. Game time, 4 o'clock here at Benedetti Worley Stadium. We'll see you then on NCTV 17 and on NCTV17.com.